Hi, everyone. My name is Yasmin Metellus, and I'm the Miami Fellow for Ignite National. Today, I'm going to be presenting on how to vote in the state of Florida. So here is a just rough outline of what we're going to go through today. The first is we're going to discuss the deadlines to register to vote by mail. We're also going to discuss the deadlines to vote by mail, and we're also going to discuss who is running for the U.S. House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate, and what are some of the statewide propositions and what do they do? So thank you so much for joining me and for learning more about the state of Florida and voting measures. So the first thing, deadlines in Florida. As you can see, a lot of the deadlines have actually already passed for registration and for absentee ballot deadlines, but the one deadline that has not passed yet is the early voting deadline. So you can start early voting anywhere between October 19th to November 2nd. Those are the standard days for Florida, but it will vary by counties. So what I advise is that you look up your specific county's supervisor of elections office, like look on their website and make sure that you can confirm what days early voting begins for your particular county, because while these are the standard dates, they are going to vary across different counties in terms of dates and hours. So definitely look into that with your supervisor of elections office. So how to vote by mail in Florida. So for this election cycle, all registered voters will be sent a vote by mail ballot for the November general election. Registered voters do not have to apply actually for a vote by mail ballot this election. So how to vote, simply fill out your ballot. After you have voted, insert your ballot into the envelope provided and make sure you complete all the required information. So just try not to rush through this. Make sure that you've answered all the questions properly, completed everything that's required just to make sure that your ballot is counted. And you can return your ballot by mail, in person, or by using a designated drop box. If you are returning your ballot by mail, it must be postmarked on or before Election Day and received by your county elections office no later than 17 days after Election Day. So what I would really recommend is make sure you get your vote by mail ballot in as early as possible, just in case there are any difficulties or delays with the post office. And for some counties, you can actually track your vote by mail ballot again through their supervisors of election site. So make sure that you check out that site and you'll be able to see if your ballot is counted or not, or when it actually arrives at the supervisor of elections office. But the best rule of thumb is the minute you get your vote by mail ballot, just try to turn it in as early as possible. And if you do decide to return your ballot in person or you decide to use a designated drop box, it must be delivered no later than the close of polls at 8 p.m. on November 3rd. So just keep that in mind. That time, if you're returning your ballot in person using a drop box, the magic date for you will be November 3rd at 8 p.m. Anyone may return your ballot for you as long as they do not get paid on a per ballot basis. So you are allowed to authorize someone else to return the ballot for you. And in order for your ballot to be counted, just make sure that you fill out the authorization section found on the outside of your ballot envelope. So U.S. House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate. So U.S. House of Representatives are up for re-election every 2 years. Our senators, Rick Scott and Marco Rubio, are actually not up for re-election this year, so that will not be on your ballot. Propositions in Florida. So we have 6 amendments that will be on your ballot in Florida. The first amendment is a citizen requirement for a voting initiative. The second amendment is a $15 minimum wage initiative. The third amendment is a top 2 open primaries for state offices initiative. The fourth amendment requires constitutional amendments to be passed twice. The amendment 5 is extend Save Our Homes portability period amendment. And amendment 6 is the homestead property tax discount for spouses of deceased veterans amendment. So these are the 6 to look for on your ballot. And I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about what each of these amendments actually entails. So Amendment 1, a citizen requirement for voting initiative. So a yes vote for this amendment, amending the Florida Constitution to state that only a citizen of the U.S. who is 18 years old or older can vote in Florida. So that's Amendment 1. Amendment 2. $15 minimum wage initiative. A yes vote for this initiative supports the initiative to increase the state's minimum wage incrementally until reaching $15 per hour in September of 2026. Amendment 3, top 2 open primaries for state offices initiative. A yes vote for this amendment supports establishing a top 2 open primary system for primary elections for state legislators, the governor, and cabinet. cabinet meeting the Attorney General, Chief Financial Officer, and Commissioner of Agriculture in Florida. Amendment 4, require constitutional amendments to be passed twice initiative. A yes vote for this amendment supports requiring voter-approved constitutional amendments to be approved by voters at a second general election to become effective. Amendment 5, Florida Extend Save Our Homes Portability Period Amendment. A yes vote supports extending the period during which a person may transfer Save Our Homes benefits to a new homestead property from 2 years to 3 years. And lastly, we have Amendment 6, Homestead Property Tax Discount for Spouses of Deceased Veterans Amendment. A yes vote for this amendment supports allowing a homestead property tax discount to be transferred to the surviving spouse of a deceased veteran. And those are the amendments. Just go back to the beginning. So just to kind of wrap up what we've learned today, just make sure that you're adhering to the specific deadlines of your county. I urge and implore you to go to your county supervisor of election sites. That will include all the information you need to know about where to drop off your ballot, the different deadlines, and when early voting starts. That website will be a great resource for you, and for some counties, you'll actually be able to track your ballot in real time and see if the ballot is actually received by your supervisor of elections office. So it's a great resource that I would highly recommend. Overall, thank you so much for joining me virtually and for watching this training. And better yet, thank you so much for supporting our democracy by voting and by learning more about the voting process. I really appreciate it, and thank you so much. Have a good day, everyone.